All right, everybody, welcome back to your favorite podcast on the internet. It's been too long, but we're back, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Mark, and I know y'all have been missing out on the quality content, so that's why we're here. That's why we're back. It's for the people. We're men of the people, so.
Yeah, got to give the people what they want. And with that, basically what we're looking to do with the podcast is return to our weekly episode. It's been a crazy year, and we're kind of getting back to basics. And we miss the podcast, we miss making it, and so we really want to try and start it up again. And hopefully we'll be able to stick to the weekly episode, and give the people that podcast that they've been missing for I don't even know how long, a few months.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it's definitely been too long, and the Twitter is going to be firing up pretty soon. We're going to have some great stuff coming out on the Twitter at the Mark Mike Show. So keep an eye on that. We'll drop weekly episodes there and keep you updated with some other fun things. So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Actually, kind of talking about the Twitter, it's been a while since we put out tweets, but one of the tweets I put out, it honestly might have even been April, but I thought this was really cool, so I'll just mention it really quickly. I put out a tweet talking about what's your song of quarantine, basically, and I thought it was really cool. Some of the people who replied mentioned, different artists, different bands in their reply, and some of those bands, some of those artists retweeted the tweet or liked the tweet, and I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, I think that's really neat. We're hoping to reach out to some more people this year, I guess, over the next few months. This summer series coming up is going to be
yes, sir.
Fire. So get ready to take the heat.
So, yeah, with that, we're just going to dive right in. Basically, so Mike, basically something that we've got into the past few months, I don't know, since really I would say this school year is LoFi. And if you don't know what LoFi is, basically you take popular music and sort of put a beat to it, or you could just it could just be beats that you create on your own. So basically, we've really gotten into lo-fi, and it's been cool. So we kind of want to share that with you guys. What are your thoughts on lo-fi, Mike?
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think that it's great when you have a song that you already enjoy, and then someone has taken it, kind of stripped it down, and then made it their own with their own beats, and just recreated it. You still have that connection to it, but it adds in something new and something a little bit exciting. Like, oh, this is something I haven't heard before.
Yeah, definitely. And I think too with that, you see the a lot of times they'll take theme music from your favorite show, or your favorite movie or something like that, where you sort of built up that love of the characters, familiarity with the characters, and that music just sort of brings that familiarity. But it's something different. It's a little bit of a different spice that you haven't really heard before. One of my favorite, I guess you would call it lo-fi, remixes sort of is Secret Tunnel's trap remix from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It takes a goofy, like, kind of fun song, and it sort of just remakes it and brings it makes it a little more hype, and it's really good.
Oh yeah, and Secret Tunnel, already great on its own. Like, who doesn't love the Gypsy guy just singing Secret Tunnel? Like, that's great. But just like adding in those beats and stuff, it does make it a little bit more exciting. One thing we've talked about before is how great lo-fi music is for studying.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I used to not listen to any music while studying because I was like, oh, it's too distracting. Like, I can't do lyrics. Classical music puts me to sleep. But then, you spin some lo-fi and it's just, man, I can stay awake. The beat's keeping me awake, but it's still something I'm enjoying listening to. It's not something like, oh, I don't know what this is, where it's going. Like, if it's something I'm familiar with, like a song that's been remixed, I can follow along, like, okay, I like this, and it's keeping me going,
Yeah, and it's sort of, especially when you're studying too, it can just sort of fade into the background a little bit, because yeah, you do have that familiarity, and it is kind of just, the beats are enough to keep it upbeat. Classical music is great, but sometimes when you're studying, it's late at night, it's tough to use classical music because it makes you tired, and it doesn't necessarily have that upbeat, blood pumping, and not that lo-fi is like really, crazy or anything. Like, it's just enough to keep you interested and keep you engaged, I think.
Yeah, just do a little head bob, a little foot tap, kind of just keep you motivated. Adds in a little bit of energy without being overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's a big thing, especially studying. You want a little bit of energy, but you don't necessarily need, you don't need too much to be studying. And so,
yeah, I mean, you don't need like Shakira blasting in the background. Next thing you know, like your table's falling over, you're like dancing. So it's not anything that crazy, but it gets you focused. I'd say.
Yeah, and that the other cool thing too is a lot of people are super creative with it. They'll take theme music from The Office or theme music from Avatar or something like that, and they'll like Mike said, just strip it down and make it something new, something different, but also, it has that familiarity. So I don't know, it's a really interesting genre that I feel like I didn't really, I didn't really see that before. So like being introduced to it and sort of, just learning about it, and sort of the more that happens, the more I find lo-fi music that I like. And so I don't know, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I'd say one of my favorites is from a show that I really only watched recently, Gravity Falls.
Great show.
It is a great show, and if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend watching it. There's only 2 seasons. Each episode's about 20 minutes, but man, it's really well written, I'd say. It's technically a kids show, but even now I enjoyed watching it. It had great storyline, great character development too, but their intro song is one of the best I've ever heard, and there's no lyrics to their intro,
Right.
Which is an impressive thing to do. And so I've been going back and listening to the lo-fi remix of the intro for Gravity Falls, and that's been great, just listening to that on loop. And that's, I think, another thing, like, you can listen to these songs on loop without getting tired of them because there's no lyrics involved. It's not like you're hearing the same thing, and like you said, it fades to the background.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is fresh enough, it is different enough. Like, I mean, you obviously, when you're watching the show, you're hearing it almost every time. And so, yeah, you obviously, hear it a lot, but then it's not quite the same. It's a little different, has a little bit of added flavor. So yeah, I would definitely agree. Gravity Falls, great show. It is a kid show, but I mean, any kid show that's worth watching adults should have some level of interest in it, especially if it's made for kids, that aren't necessarily like elementary school, like maybe middle school type kids. My siblings, are around that age. So I watch a lot of shows with them, and Gravity Falls is one of the shows that we watched. And it's just, good lo-fi can come out of any show, but I think it takes a great theme to make a great lo-fi. So yeah, with that, basically, we're going to create a lo-fi playlist, put it up on the Twitter. It'll be a Spotify playlist, and yeah, it's something different from the playlist that we released the summer playlist, but we're really excited about it. Something to share with you guys, something different. You know, it's getting towards final season, exam season, so you know, getting that lo-fi mixed playlist, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, get you through exams and then get you chilling for the beginning of summer.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be different, but you know, if you've never listened to lo-fi, give it a try. It's really worth a try, and you know, it's not the type of music that you'd necessarily be listening to, you know, on a summer day with the windows down, but like it's definitely something for those quiet, like maybe a little quieter, more intimate like moments where, you know, you got to grind out this paper or whatever, or, you know, you're doing some work, a little bit more focus. I think that's one of the advantages of lo-fi. It's like definitely helps to focus. So yeah, look for the lo-fi playlist coming out. It's going to be a good one. You're going to enjoy it. It'll have some, you know, some more chill songs, some more hype songs, but it'll, you know, stick to that lo-fi brand. So with that, yeah, we're just going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for sort of our main segment of the day. And yeah, so talk to you guys in a few. All right, everybody, we are back. This is the Mark and Mike Show. Follow us on Twitter at the Mark Mike Show. And yeah, so we're back here with our main segment of the day. You know, typically how we go with the show is, you know, we kind of just chat it up for a little bit in that first segment, bring you guys something funny, something different. And then, yeah, we'll dive into a little bit of a deeper discussion. So, yeah, with that, Mike's gonna kick us off.
Yeah, and honestly, I think coming in with, like, starting out with the lo-fi is a great segue into this topic, because I'd really like to talk about expectations and going into things with kind of those preconceived notions. Because I know initially I was thinking, like at least with lo-fi and music in general, like for studying and stuff, I was like, I can't do that. Like, it's too distracting, or like if it is, you know, a slower song, like I'm just gonna fall asleep. I can't focus. But then, you know, you find something like lo-fi, and it's like, oh, well, actually, this is really helping me out, like helping me get through this work, and it's, you know, I'm enjoying it. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how those preconceived notions can sometimes stop us from finding something that we really do enjoy doing. What do you think about that, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a mental block for a lot of people, is, you know, sort of putting up that wall of an expectation, whether that's something that you want to try, or something that, you know, kind of has this connotation in your own mind that sort of stops you from trying it or doing something different, or whatever that expectation is, or even some sort of event that you think it's going to go one way, or some situation that you think it's going to go a certain direction, and being able to, you know, adapt and understand, like, oh wow, this was not what I was expecting at all, and you know, having that sort of like roadblock of expectation, sometimes you can't handle that change, that, you know, that sharp left turn that you weren't expecting, something like that. So yeah, I think expectations are really important, and that can be a huge block for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think one thing naturally, just as humans, like that, it's just very difficult, and more so for some people than others. But like transitions can be very difficult, and just trying to be like, oh, well, how is this going to affect me? How is this new situation going to play out? So you almost like try to make up these expectations, like this mental image of how things are going to play out. So you're almost more secure and safe going into that new situation. Whereas like in reality, you may not have any information on what this new situation is going to be. But if you're going in with like, oh, this mental image, like, okay, this is how it's going to play out, and this is what I'm clinging to, so that in my mind, I'm still safe, I'm still okay. I think that can be detrimental to like personal progress. I think if you and then if you add in different personality aspects, like I know some people tend to be more pessimistic than others, and if you go in with a mental image that's in a pessimistic light, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to try new things. It's going to hold me back.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I think this is something that we've talked about, just especially with, you can put it in any context really, but a great example is sort of is running, can be used in running. Going into a race, like you really, you think you know, and you think this is how it's going to go, but 99% of the time it goes not the way that you had envisioned. And there's so many outside factors that you can't control. And I think that can be applied to just life in general. For example, we had some teammates that got COVID, in the past few weeks, and it's just like, there's no control over that. It's like, obviously everyone does what we're supposed to do with different protocols or whatever, but ultimately you can't really affect that. And if you maybe had the expectation of not having that affect you at all, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, a lot of things are changed. Like, I can't leave my house, I can't go to the track meet, or I can't go to class, and some people, it's that can be really difficult to deal with, and I think a lot of that is sort of expectations. You have a certain expectation that you had laid out, and sometimes, yeah, it's like that completely gets shattered. And how do you react to that? I think how you react to changes in situations, changes in environment, changes in whatever it is around you is really important.
Yeah, and I like what you said there, because it kind of touches on when you have those expectations going in and it's not how you planned out, like it doesn't pan out the way you thought it would, how that can just lead to avoidance of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is not what I expected, I'm shutting down. Like, I'm just not going to think about it. I'm going to waste my energy on other things that, like, try to avoid the discomfort of the situation with like distractions, and you'd be like, okay, I'm still doing something productive, but it's not the thing that I don't want to think about. And I think there has to be like some adaptability. Like my dad always used to say, adaptability is one of the most important life skills you can learn, and that's the thing. It's something you have to learn with the unexpected situations.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I like your point about avoidance, because it's so easy to, instead of facing that discomfort, that shift in your view of what's going on around you, it's so easy to just avoid that and just be like, I'm not down for this. Like, I thought it was going to be something else, and especially when it's something, I think anything that's worthwhile, you're gonna have to fight through some discomfort. It's not just gonna be everything's gonna be easy all the time, and you just waltz your way to happiness. I think there's so many things that are worthwhile that you have to struggle for, you have to fight for. And I think in our situation right now, it's like school sometimes is terrible. It's hard, but it would be really easy to just be like, you know what, I don't really want to do this. This is going to be too much. And it's like, maybe I was expecting it to be easier. And so being met with that and being able to sort of say, well, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. And it's not very fun, but I'm going to get through it. And I think that's sort of the road to progress and the road to personal growth, is that idea of you're faced with something, and something that you weren't expecting, something that's challenging, something that's difficult, and sort of being able to react positively to that, react well to that. So
yeah, and then going into that a little deeper, like when you see these situations and it's not how you expected, it's important to acknowledge, like, okay, my expectations, they didn't play out, things didn't play out as I thought they would, as opposed to like saying to yourself like, oh well, I should be able to do this. Right. Kind of like sticking with your expectations and saying like, I should be able to do this, but I can't. And then you just get down on yourself, and it's like this cycle. But when you kind of reconfigure your mindset, like, oh, okay, this is different than what I was expecting. I'm acknowledging it's different, and yes, it's hard. Or like, it's not what I was expecting. And from there, that point of being honest, like, oh, I'm acknowledging this, we can move forward. I don't have to avoid it, even though I know it's hard. Like, acknowledging that it's hard is going to be so much better than just saying like avoiding acknowledging it at all. Like, you want to be able to say like, okay, yeah, this is a challenging situation, whether it's like this paper I have to do, or I'm about to run this race, or I have to do this project for work. Like,
yeah, exactly. And even it can be a difficult conversation. I think sometimes that's something that it's, you have expectations going in, and it's like, oh man, I really don't want to have to bring this up, or I don't want to have to talk to this person or confront this person about something. And it doesn't even have to be something that's necessarily like a bad thing. It's just like, oh man, this is going to be a little bit challenging to talk about with this person. It could be something like that. And I really liked your point about acknowledgement. I think acknowledgement it's so important to acknowledge, and like you're saying, yeah, you don't want to stick with your expectations at that point, because you're kind of just burying yourself deeper. Instead of taking that acknowledgement and sort of, okay, this is my new base level, you're sort of just digging yourself a bigger hole where it's not possible to get out of, because you kind of buried yourself with your own expectations.
Yeah, like trying to force it.
Yeah. And I think that's obviously like something that could be really easily applied to running, because you get in very comforting situations. But that can be applied to anything in life, really. And I think that's the beauty of running, but also the great thing about just being able to apply and learn life lessons from just different experiences in life, whether that's running, whether that's school, whether that's whatever those experiences are. But yeah, there's a lot to learn for sure.
Right. Yeah, and then going forward, like, you are able to go forward at that point. Like, okay, instead of digging deeper with your expectations, it's like, okay, I'm once again on like
level ground.
Yeah. So, it's a launching point at that point. You can be adaptable from a point of honesty and acknowledgement. Like, I'm not as strong as I thought I was in this area. I'm going to have to work harder now. instead of saying like I should be able to do it.
Yeah.
These were what my expectations were going into it. So yeah, having that ability just mentally to reconfigure and like kind of do the paradigm shift.
Yeah, that's really important. And that's the thing too, is like being able to, sometimes it's hard to acknowledge, that we are weak, that we failed, or that we didn't do something as well as we would have liked. Because it's embarrassing. It's like, oh man, I really thought I was going to be able to do that better. And, being able to admit that to others, but being able to admit that to ourselves is so important, because if we don't admit that to ourselves, like, man, that was hard. I wish I did better with that. If we're not honest with ourselves, but with other people as well, obviously, like, you're not going to be able to go forward. I think that's really important.
Yeah, and that takes just a lot of patience, like with yourself. I think, we can go in with those expectations, like this is who I am. Like I already know everything about myself, so I don't need to be patient with myself or be like, okay, like kind of like we said, acknowledge the weaknesses we have. But if you are patient with yourself, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that shift of, okay, acknowledging there are things I need to work on. So I think looking for those opportunities to be patient with yourself, and then also those opportunities that are going to be uncomfortable, not necessarily like seeking out just like, oh, I want to make myself uncomfortable, but like those situations naturally arise,
Yeah,
and just instead of, I think we get into the habit of practicing avoidance more often than not. So trying to recognize those situations, and then when our expectations don't play out, then being honest but patient with ourselves in those situations so we can move forward.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is I think a lot of times our harshest critics are not other people, but ourselves. We're our own worst enemy in a sense sometimes, because we hold ourselves to such high standards. And sometimes you just have to take a step back and sort of look at the objective reality of the situation, rather than, how you have framed it in your own mind. Because sometimes in reality, it looks a lot different than the way that we're looking at it. And I think that's something that we need to do as well. And part of that is, you have to communicate with others to do that. They can help you to sort of see from a different light. Because sometimes we get so focused, and it's like, if I don't do this, then I absolutely fail no matter what. It doesn't matter. And sometimes it's, it's good to hold yourself to a high standard, but you have to acknowledge a lot of the external factors, and some of those expectations lead you to forget all of the other things around you that are part of the situation. It's like, you can control what you can control, but there are often a lot of things around you that you can't control, and you can't, force yourself to reach a certain level, like strive after a certain standard if you don't acknowledge other factors as well. I think that's...
Yeah, no, and I think one thing recently that's been applicable to my life is recovering from coronavirus. Like recently I had coronavirus, and coming back into working out and running, kind of expecting, like almost going in with that fear, like, oh, I'm not going to be as good as I was before. And then going in, and I did like 5 workouts in 4 days trying to catch up. And that's just not how it works. By the end of the week, I was worn out. Like, and that's not where we want to be going into end of the season. So recognizing, okay, this is where you wanted to be, this is where you were, and kind of you have to manage the situation. Like, recognize the factors in the situation. Like, I couldn't control getting sick. Like, that wasn't something that was within my power to stop. But going back into workouts, I could have been like, all right, we're going to see how I feel. Maybe wait a few days between workouts so that we can, I can kind of feel things out a little better. But yeah, because it'll catch up to you.
Definitely. So yeah, I mean, I think expectations are really important, and obviously there's a lot of other factors that play into that. And yeah, I don't know. Any final thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, I just say, give each situation a chance. Like each new opportunity, or each new situation is an opportunity for you to kind of go in free. Like you don't have to go in afraid. You don't have to go in like putting the situation in a box. Like you can go in and just kind of get the lay of the land. Mm-hmm. Like see how it is. See it how it is. And just practice having those honest eyes and patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. So
yeah, and just to close it out, it's kind of one final thought, basically something that Mike and I had talked about, with specifically with running, but this can be applied beyond that. Is sometimes you enter a situation and you're sort of like the character in a video game. You just get dropped into a situation, and it's not necessarily, you don't really know what's going on, and you sort of just have to, observe and see how things play out, and not let those expectations, box you in. And looking at it like that is something that I found very. It's funny, but it's also, it's kind of true. It's like there's a lot of situations where, you just kind of get dropped in, and it's like, okay, what's going on here, like that video game character. So with that, we'll just take a little break, and then we're going to wrap up the show. I hope you enjoyed that discussion. All right, guys, we are back for our final segment of the day. We're just going to have a little fun. I'm going to quiz Mike on just a handful of states and capitals from the U.S. I feel like geography happens to be a pretty common topic on this show. We've talked about geography pretty frequently. So I'm going to quiz him on states and capitals. See what he really knows about geography.
All right, you're not ready for this. I'm great at geography. I'm not as good as my brother though. He knows like every state in Canada. Do they even have states in Canada?
Provinces, I think.
Provinces? Okay. Well, maybe I'm not that great at geography.
I mean, I've been to Canada and I don't know the provinces, so I mean, Canada. To be honest, like Canada is irrelevant, but no.
But so we're not quizzing on Canada.
No, Canada. No, we're gonna go with U.S. states and capitals. And I'm gonna just quiz Mike. I'm gonna give him 5 states and capitals. I'll try to get some that are a little obscure. Some, maybe try and stump him. But if he gets 4 out of 5, we'll put up a little prize for the fans up on Twitter.
I'm playing for you.
So he's playing for your hearts. All right, here we go. All right, so first one. What is the capital of Michigan?
You almost okay. I almost said. I know it's not Ann Arbor, but it's Lansing.
It is.
I
Lansing.
Almost said Ann Arbor because I know you're from the Ann Arbor area, aren't you?
True. This is true. So no, you got it. That is correct. So 1 for 1. Let's see. Next one. What is the capital of Washington?
Washington, like the state.
The state, yeah.
State. Okay. Ooh, is it Seattle?
Incorrect.
No.
It is Olympia.
No way. Really?
Yeah, I mean, you really don't hear about Olympia very much. You definitely only hear about Seattle, but yeah, it's actually Olympia.
Oh my gosh.
So, okay, next one. This should be an easy one. Like, you just moved to South Carolina, so what is the capital of South Carolina?
Columbia.
Correct. All right, it's 2 for 3. 2 for 3. Not bad, not bad. We're gonna go with something close to home. Ohio.
Columbus.
Columbus. Correct.
Yes. All right, that's 4, right?
That's 3 for 4.
3 for 4. Oh, okay. So I have to get one more.
You have to get this last one correct, and I'm gonna try and make it a challenging one for you. Let me see. I think personally, I don't know. Like, if someone asked me this, I'd probably get it wrong. But we do have a couple of teammates from this area. What is the capital of New Hampshire?
Oh, New Hampshire. Oh, man. I can picture it. Man. I know Danny's from Manchester. It's not Manchester.
It is not Manchester.
Oh, man.
Do you know it? You don't know
Give me a
it.
hint. Give me a hint.
I'll give you a hint. It starts with the letter C.
Oh, okay. Starts with a C. It's gotta be. I don't know. Is it Columbus? Columbia?
No. Incorrect. All right. Sorry, everyone. You can only get 3 out of 5. The correct answer to the capital of New Hampshire is Concord.
Concord. Oh man.
So
I was on the tip of my tongue.
Maybe next week we'll have another contest and a little prize. I know we used to do the what is my phone battery percentage at, and since we're recording this, you might be a little bit harder to guess. Also, I got a new phone, so the battery's slightly better. But yeah, we'll definitely keep doing little fun like contests and stuff. And yeah, like Mike mentioned earlier, we'll probably have a guest on our next show. Hopefully,
Sweet.
We'll see about that. But yeah, we got a lot of things in the works. The LoFi playlist coming out. A lot of things. Anything you want to see or hear about on the show. Any just memes or whatever, share it with us.
You know where to reach us at the Mark Mike Show. Use our Twitter handle. Just go out there, be great. Don't go in with too much expectations.
Yes, sir.
And hang loose, hang tough through finals. I know a lot of our listeners are getting ready for finals, so get through that all right. Then it's summer. It's time to vacation. Relax, chill. So, we'll have another episode next week. Get you through finals. So,
all right. Well, thanks for spending some time with us today. And if you made it this far in the podcast, if you listened all the way to the end, you're a real one, and I appreciate it. So, look for more coming out soon, and we'll talk to you next week.
Peace.